I would just dip it out just a little bit to show you what our meal is going to look like. See it right here? Can you look at it, preacher? There's my good old cornbread, cooked just like I cooked a pound of cornbread in the oven. And look down under there. Oh boy, there is all my good vegetables. I'll put a few more right here. Good morning. This is At Home with Miss Joan, and I thought I would go ahead and cook our supper a little early today because we got lots of stuff to do. And we're going to have cornbread pie for supper, and I thought, well, I'll just film it for my YouTube friends. Preacher's doing my filming for me this morning. I appreciate it. Now, the first thing you do on cornbread pie is, what it is, it's a meat and vegetable bottom, and then it's a cornbread top, and it's very good. And you scramble you some hamburger meat with onion and get it brown. Well, see, I've already done that to save us some time. I go ahead and I fry up about 4 pounds of hamburger meat with chopped onion in it, and I freeze it in my freezer in these little containers. I just have what I call a kitchen work day where I pre-cook a lot of meats and stuff. So this is my cornbread pie, and all I done, see, to make it quick is I already had my hamburger meat, which is just venison. This is deer meat, but it's the same thing back and forth. You can use the same. But anyway, I've already got it ready. And today I'm going to bring it over here so you can watch me a little better because I need to be looking into the camera according to my daughter. But anyway, my recipe says for us to add tomato soup. Now, you can put chopped green peppers in this too, but I didn't today. This is just a can of Campbell's tomato soup, 10 ounce, the regular size. I'm putting that in. Okay. Now, I usually make this on the stove so it can melt together as I cook it, but I wanted you to be able to see it real good. Then I drained just a regular size 15-ounce can of whole kernel corn. I'm putting it in here. And I'm putting English peas. But I also put my seasonings, which is a teaspoon of chili powder. I really like to put that on my meat first, but I didn't. So it won't matter, so I'm going on all of it. So we've got our hamburger meat and onions cooked. We added chili powder. We're going to add salt and pepper, and I'll probably do salt and pepper again at the end of it. And then I got a drained can of English peas, and it's also the small can, which is 15 ounces. It's going in. Now, if you don't like English peas, you put whatever you want to in the bean category. Just drain it. You're going to add some water back into it, though. See here, can you zero in on that, preacher? Come up close. That's what I got right now. Don't that look good? Real easy. I added meat, seasonings, and English peas, or they're also called sweet peas, whole kernel corn, and tomato soup. Putting it on the stove eye because I want to get it good and hot. Now, what the recipe calls to add a little liquid to this, which is a half a can of water. What I've done was I just saved what I drained off of my peas and my corn because it's got a little bit of richness in it. There goes a half a can of liquid. So we'll just see what this looks like when we get it stirred up. I'm going to turn the eye up. We eat this a lot. It's a quick supper and it's a good supper. And we'll probably just have coleslaw on the side of it. Because see, you got your meat, your vegetables all in the same pot, and the bread's going to be on the top. So it's what I call a one pot meal. Alrighty. See how this is getting bubbly and hot. And what I'm going to do then is just spray me a casserole dish that I can cook in the oven with. And I'm going to put this stuff in it. Oh, you can use pinto beans instead of English peas, black beans, whatever bean you got. Your leftover beans from anything. See this? Just spread it out there. Now what I like to do is kind of taste of it to see if I think I got enough chili powder in it. Pretty good? Pretty good. I might push just a little bit more. Get me a clean spoon to start with. I use a taste of everything right before I cook it, see if it's seasoned like our family likes it. Okay, I'm going to put that aside, and I'm going to set up here to show you the cornbread topping. Then we'll put it in the oven and we'll bake it. Some of y'all has asked me about, I always have my recipes on this little stand. I just covered this with contact paper. But anyway, I pull these out of my cookbook. I have my own cookbook that has nothing in here. It's just a plain 3-ring notebook. But the recipes that we use here, I try not to put ones I want to try or everybody else's stuff that maybe our family don't like. What goes in here is just what we like. We like cornbread pie, so it's in this book right here, and I just pulled it out. And when I was in the pantry this morning, pulling out the soup and the corn and the peas, that's when I kind of eyeball my pantry and say, whew, this is not my last can of tomato soup, is it? And no, it wasn't. And that way you kind of keep an eyeball and you have a backup of everything. Now, I talked about all that when I made my first video called Kitchen Organization and my second video called Pantry Organization. So if you want to go back and look at them, that'd be good. But let me pause right here for just a minute and I'll set up the cornbread stuff and we'll get her in the oven. Okay, now we're set up to show you the cornbread topping that goes on our cornbread pie. And you can make your own cornbread recipe that you already make every day. Just pour it on top of this vegetable and meat mixture. It'll do the same thing. But this one calls for 3/4 a cup of cornmeal and 2 tablespoons of flour. Well, I've already got the cornmeal in here, and I need to get me 2 tablespoons of flour. And I'm just heaping it up. All right. And then my thing calls for a cup of an egg. Put that, I reckon, in cornbread every day when you make it. Meal, flour, and an egg, and buttermilk. And this is a cup of buttermilk. Now, this recipe calls for a tablespoon of sugar. You can put that in or you cannot put it in. I never thought much about it, but when we was getting this recipe set up, preacher said, you put sugar in there? I said, well, we really don't usually in our cornbread, but this thing does call for it, but you wouldn't have to do that. But anyway, that's it. Now, depending on the size of your casserole dish, this little batch of cornbread right here, you know, might not be enough. Look at it, preacher. See it right there? That's a little bit thick for what I like to do, so I'm going to add a little more buttermilk. See, making cornbread is so easy. You just put cornmeal and a little flour and an egg and buttermilk to the thickness that you want it. I know that I want it to cover this pie here, so I can pour it on there. I'm going to call that okay. So I'm going to reach over here and get my bottom of my cornbread pie, and now we're going to put the topping on it. I'm just going to kind of, almost like you was putting it on a layered cake here. And I'm just a-praying that I got all of it covered. But if not, you just get you out a little more meal and cornbread and mix you up a little more cornbread. Because, you know, you see the size of this dish here. I should have measured it. Oh yeah, we're gonna make it. This rises up too. I you know, use white lily flour because that's what Mama did. White lily self-rising flour in most about everything. But she used Martha White cornmeal mix. So, as you can see, this is a canister that I keep my cornmeal mix, and I just put the Martha White hickey on the front. But I need to get me a new one that looks like it's wore slap out. But anyway, there it is. It's fixing to go in the oven if you want to zero in on it, preacher. If you hadn't, you may already have. And I've got my oven preheating to 360. My stove, I put down that I cook mine on 360 for 40 minutes, and then if I think the cornbread's done, I might hit the broiler and brown it on the top. I'll let you know how that turns out. I'll put this in the oven, and I'll show you the finished product here in a few minutes. Okay, now, here it is out of the oven. Preacher wants to zero in on the cornbread pie. It browned up real good, and like I said, in mine, I timed it. It was 40 minutes on 360. The recipe, I think, says run it anywhere from 350 to 400, but everybody's stove cooks a little different. But anyway, one tip I want to say is, oh, this is so good and crunchy, just like the top would on your regular cornbread. And you'd be real tempted, I would, to put this on it now and let it set on the stove for supper time. But if I do that, the steam's going to build up and it's going to make my cornbread soggy. So that's just a little tip. When I go to put the top on this and set it out on the stove, I'll cock it to the side just a little bit so that steam will get out. I won't charge you anything for that little tip. I have this typed up, and it's simple ground beef and onion, and I didn't use the green peppers, but you could. 1 can of tomato soup, a little water, and then whole kernel corn. We used English peas, sweet peas, salt, pepper, and chili powder, and then our cornbread topping, which is just cornmeal, flour, buttermilk, sugar, and an egg. And here it is. Okay. I thought I would just dip it out just a little bit to show you what our meal is going to look like. See it right here? Can you look at it, preacher? There's my good old cornbread, cooked just like I cooked a pound of cornbread in the oven. And look down under there. Oh boy, there is all my good vegetables. I'll put a few more right here. Now, we're just going to have this, and oh, we love coleslaw, and I need to make a YouTube video about that one day. But this right here will be what we have for our supper tonight here at Home with Miss Joan. And I have so enjoyed talking to y'all today, and I thank Preacher for being my filming person. Would you please subscribe to my videos? I surely would appreciate it here at Home with Miss Joan.